Okay, so the second website we are working on is going to be quite a bit different than the first one. We call it Make It and Sell It. You are going to make it and you are going to set it up as a website to sell whatever you make. So this project is going to encompass a lot of different design elements that we've covered off and some that we haven't covered off. So it will be fairly intense from now till the last day of our presentation, the last day of classes. So really the idea behind Make It and Sell It is to create a packaged product. So typically students have created things like coffee packaging, chocolate packaging, you could create beer packaging. There's typically a lot of food packaging that's done. That is 1/4 of the mark. So what you have to do is come up with packaging, name it, design it, and execute it in Adobe Dimensions, and that is what is going to give you the main assets for your website. So you'll probably do 2 or 3 different sort of views of your packaging, maybe a branded background. Your packaging is going to have a name that you're going to give it, and a basic word mark logo. You're not getting marked for the logo part of it. You are getting marked for the packaging part of it. So you don't want to spend too much time on working on a logo. It's almost more important that you come up with an interesting name and then some interesting packaging. The idea behind the website is that it is going to be a site that you would land on. You'll see your product, and the site itself is going to sell the product. So the site should have a landing page that describes the product, buttons to order the product, secondary pages that could feature the complete product line or look at features or attributes. It could also have a brand story or history, and you are approaching it as if you were the owner of this company. So the site will require one of the following as well that we haven't done before: a product video or some type of animation. It could be a brand animation, could be a short video introducing the product, or a testimonial. Anything along those lines is going to have to be part of the website. So there's a lot of aspects to it. So if we just kind of look at our deliverables, we have a wireframe, we have a mock-up logo, which again, I can only tell you not to spend a lot of time on the logo. It could be closer to a word mark. Your original packaging that's mocked up in Dimensions, your website, which will have a landing page, sidebars, pull quotes, 2 secondary pages, a set of buttons, social media, then an original video or animation. So on the landing page, your landing page could have the brand story, could show it. Well, obviously it should show the product, and then you should have a secondary page that is for ordering the product. So those are sort of the main elements of it. If we have a look at how the schedule breaks down, this is very important, because what we're sort of looking at is starting on February 22nd, when you present your environmental site, you are basically dealing with 8 weeks. So within those 8 weeks, there's some pretty hard deadlines. So the first deadline is in week 1. You're going to present the name of the product, and obviously what kind of product it is. Then week 10, so 2 weeks later, you will be presenting the package design. So it needs to be basically needs to be named and designed within 3 weeks. So that's pretty tight. So you want to keep things simple. We will have an in-class sort of packaging project to help work on it. We'll also have a sort of a in-class sort of brand story example as well. But yes, by week 10, March 15th, you will present your package design, and that's worth 10%. Then we'll have a couple in-class projects, some one-on-ones on week 11, which is like the next week. We will review one-on-one your wireframe. So you should have all of your wireframes done that week. And then week 12, you will be presenting your design comps for the site itself. So that will be on paper or obviously a PDF. That will basically be the sign off of the design and writing of the site. So that is March 29th. We're closed Easter, so you'll have 2 full weeks from the time that you present it and I give you feedback on it till week 14, which is April 12th, where it needs to be live. So basically February, March, and then into April. So lots of work to be done. I thought I would show you just a few examples of sort of effective packaging product websites. Okay, there's no real rhyme or reason to the products I selected. Some I selected because of the story they tell. Some I selected just because of some of the animation and video that they use. But each one sort of is a good example of a product site. So this is called Ear Couture. So a line of earbuds, headphones, that sort of thing. You'll see like on landing, really sort of interesting sort of approach to just having the product sort of cycle through. So something that could be done in kind of a, I think you could replicate that in a very little bit more of a lo-fi. I don't know if you could do that bulging animation, but you know, just sort of having the type kind of scrolling through just gives a little bit of movement, so it works pretty well that way. And you see on their secondary pages, so they sort of go into the actual products themselves. Let's see, we'll go to a journal. Some of these actually aren't in English, so it's a little bit harder. Yeah, so then these are just sort of different stories about the products. So kind of an interesting site. Okay, so this is for Fossula. So again, you'll see really simple word mark, which works well on websites, obviously. And then really kind of interesting animation. Obviously not expecting anything that sort of level, but you can sort of see how companies sort of use little intros for, so this is just a little looping animation that they've done. Pretty interesting. And then you know, you can click on and actually look at their products, look at the cost, that type of thing. I don't know that they actually have a brand story. They have a philosophy. Yes. No, I actually don't understand that. So really nice sort of intro again. So this is Wild Soul. So you can see really nice sort of integration between packaging and using some of the brand elements in the background. So you know, that could easily be done in Dimensions and then into Photoshop, or yeah, that's how you do it. But really nice job of you know, big headline, Taste the Wild, Find Your Soul, nice sort of brand positioning right up at the front, which you will have to figure out for your company. And then you see the packaging, and then as we scroll down again, Wildly Loved, so you can sort of see the tie-in to the headlines as we go down. A little bit of animation, So as you sort of scroll over, and on this one they have the price points right up front. This one is more kind of a scrolling site, so our philosophy, so works pretty nicely. And you know, one of the things to appreciate about this one is just sort of the commitment to the sort of brand sort of system, the illustrative elements, kind of fun little icons throughout it, and yeah, just the way it tells the brand story, so there's no mistaking when you're on this website. So right down to recipes that you can click on, some contact information, and then a bit of a brand. Then the brand story is here with a little bit of some nice big type, a store. So everything really does have a really nice sort of brand feel to it, and very consistent look and feel. So that's wildsouls.gr. So I thought I would show you this one. This is actually a local company, Yellow Dog Brewery. So you sort of see a different approach, right? So some companies will show you their product sort of in a branded environment. A lot of beer companies like to sort of do a little bit of both. So you see sort of an environment where you would actually see the beer. There's more of a brand shot. And then as you scroll down, you see sort of their first offering here. And then sort of building the brand story. So it's all around the dog. And the dogs. So you can sort of see here that as we scroll down, we start getting into the brand story, right? So start off with the beer, the latest offering, and then more about trying to get that brand principle across, right? So we are Yellow Dog Brewing. We are a craft brewery and we make awesome beer. We opened our doors in 2014 and have been making one of the best craft beer in BC ever since. Why do we do it? We love it. From the very start of the process of developing our delicious beer to getting to know each customer who walks in the tasting room. We love every aspect of the worlds we create. So the thing about that is they're really sort of wanting you to buy into the brand, right? So a Port Moody original, right? So really local, talking about the sort of craft aspect to it, and all the time sort of reiterating that sort of commitment to the brand itself. Let's just see. So you see, with this one, it's kind of a combination of lifestyle photos, more like Instagram type photographs. So they're not like highly engineered. They're sort of, taken with a digital camera without any real big setup. And then the actual beer itself, the packaging could be, that could be done in Dimensions. I'm not sure if it is or not, but kind of an interesting brand story, and that's what sort of will make your product more interesting, is if you sort of write an interesting introduction sort of philosophy for your organization, so that it does have some personality. If you understand the personality, then it's much easier to understand what that is actually going to look like. This is just another sort of interesting brand story. So this is Stanley Park Brewing, and you can sort of see they use a pretty interesting sort of illustrative style on their packaging that they also then bring into the background. So that's really why I'm showing this one, is because it's kind of a nice integration of using some of the illustration as background elements, and even using a little bit of animation up at the top. And then sort of as you scroll down, you can sort of see that these trees kind of come in using parallax, and goes straight into sort of introducing their newest packaging, which again, when you look at the nice sort of the seamless sort of integration between photography and illustration, it works pretty nicely, and still leaving themselves some nice white space around the images. And then you sort of see they go straight into their Instagram account. And then if you go up under here and you go About Us, sort of get a little bit more from their Instagram account, sort of meeting the people that have worked there. So all of those sort of work pretty nice, pretty well together, and then sort of moving into About Our Beer. So again, some kind of fun illustrative elements, and basically looking at their beer itself. And this is kind of a fun brand that uses some sort of vintage and modern sort of imagery on their packaging. So Archaeologist is a gin, and they sort of take you through the brand story. So the idea that sort of started off with a love of motorcycles, and that has kind of generated the overall sort of look and feel of the brand. So there you go through a really nice kind of visual, using icons, illustration. There's some nice background elements, and taking you through the different types of gin that they have. So each gin is attached to a different sort of motorcycle, which is just a really fun sort of approach to it. And then you can sort of see the really nice packaging that they actually have. So yeah, really nice, very consistent, a little bit vintage looking, but pretty nice way to present your story. So this is Seaman Chips. So really kind of a really nice approach to these sort of clean sort of white bags, and then using sort of these underwater illustrative elements, and then actually showing the chips themselves in part of the environment, which works really nicely. And then some really nice sort of vintage type, so the slab serif, then sort of mixing a few different elements in, and then putting it on kind of this old wooden background that sort of gets this kind of nautical feel to it. And then sort of nice way to sort of, I'll make this a little bit smaller, nice way to launch right into the chips themselves, squid and pepper, lobster and paprika, West Coast sea salt. So really nice brand story. So if you ever you have a chance to look at the website. So have you ever tried eating underwater, ever been tempted by a big bundle of seaweed? Have I? Of course I have. So I'm born by the sea and obsessed with our clean Nordic seawater. So really nice kind of visuals that build the brand, and then you can sort of see how these different elements are used throughout the website. So really nice, consistent illustrative elements, lots of white space, a little bit of edge to it, but yeah, overall a pretty nice site. Some of you might remember this from last year when we were looking at chocolate packaging. So this is Cacao 70, which really has some beautiful packaging, but look at the very sort of subtle movement on the illustration. So that is that can easily be done in a couple different ways, but as well as it allows sort of this really nice script and a little bit of movement up top, and then as we go down, you actually see the some of the navigation on the bottom, and then they go straight into sort of more bread and butter type images. And if you go to the story, this is the part that's pretty interesting. So when you're thinking about your brand, you really want to tell an interesting brand story. And, you know, clearly it's going to be fictional, but you want to try and make it seem like it's real. So that's kind of what they do pretty well. I don't love all of the website, but if you actually look at their packaging, it's pretty nice packaging as well. So they carry over that sort of a little bit of abstract illustration and some really nice type as well. So this is Boost, and I brought it in because it really has some sort of nice line elements, some oversized type, some interesting sort of animations. Probably difficult to do, but you can sort of see really nice kind of change of colors, really sort of interesting imagery, oversized type. So yeah, you definitely couldn't do all of those things, but pretty nice overall aesthetic for a vitamin company. So I included this one because even though it's not technically packaging, it's kind of designing your own plates and things like that. The one thing I wanted to really point out on this one is kind of its print sort of approach. So if you look at these kind of lines and sort of little illustrations in the background, some really kind of sophisticated type for a website, and some, you know, really nice sort of secondary elements like the script or the handwriting on there is really nice. And as you kind of go through the website, you can sort of see that it really does have a nice sort of typographic approach. Yeah, not necessarily for the packaging itself, but for the design style, it's quite nice. This is just kind of a fun brand. It's called Poppy. You can sort of see a very simple website that sort of has a very strong sort of graphic branding with a little bit of a 60s kind of touch to it. So you can sort of see that it almost has like that that blogging style. It's pretty interesting. You sort of see it's a very sort of simple website that you can sort of scroll over. In fact, I believe you could do exactly that in Squarespace, sort of going over different versions of their drink, and some really nice sort of fun elements to the website itself.